All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's Stadium on a Wednesday for the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show. Check out Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera, a third on the way. That's right, coming in Petaluma. Check out Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue you're going to find in all of Northern California. All right, Niners down here on a Wednesday. It's Titans week. Niners getting ready to play the Titans Sunday at Levi's. Cam Ward and the boys roll in with only 2 wins. So let's talk a little bit about what happened down here in Santa Clara. We should tell you that all of our 49er practice reports this season are brought to you by our friends at Plank, the 50,000 square foot entertainment eatery at Jack London Square. They just opened the hub, a brand new sports viewing space with a massive 30-foot media wall, over 70 TVs. It's the ultimate spot to watch every game. Enjoy incredible food, specialty cocktails, and their huge 15,000 square foot outdoor beer garden. Plus, bring the kids. They're going to love the bowling, the bocce, and the arcade games. Right now, if you're a Krug Show listener, you get 15% off at Plank through the end of the year. Just tell them you know me. It's a great place to host your holiday party, friends, family, your team at work. Check them out. The website's cool, plankoakland.com. That is plankoakland.com. And thanks to Plank for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Really a cool spot. You guys should all check it out. All right, let's talk about some of the news and notes down here in Santa Clara. The Niners made a transaction today. They signed Isaiah Bolden, a special teams ace, to the practice squad. Bolden played at Florida State. He played at Jackson State. He played at Colorado. Great athlete. 4.31 speed, and played in New England and was well coached there in New England. So he comes over here. He's most likely going to be a special teamer. But Isaiah Bolden, the newest Niner, we caught up with him in the locker room. Kind of a soft-spoken guy, but I'm sure he'll be a good addition to the special teams unit. As far as the practice today, Tatum Bethune out, Sam Aquinu out, Nick Martin out. Nick Martin was working out on a side field. He's still in the concussion protocol. Limited today at practice was Kyle Juszczyk. Kyle Shanahan told us that Yatir Gross-Matos will have his practice window open tomorrow, and they're hoping to get YGM back on the field. Eric Kendricks, bad news there. He's got a light calf strain. See, this is the problem when you sign guys off the street. It's like they don't have those calluses that the rest of the team has built up through training camp in September and October and November. They don't have that. So they're going through it for the first time almost all over again. And soft tissue injuries, it's kind of like, a couple weeks into training camp. They start to pop up, and now Eric Kendricks has a light calf strain, and we'll see how much it derails him. But that's just par for the course, man. That's the name of the game when you sign guys off the street in December. There's always going to be injuries. We talked to Eddie Pinheiro today. Eddie Pinheiro is back at practice. Matt Gay was released. Eddie Pinheiro will be kicking for the 49ers Sunday here at Levi's against the Titans. It was good to see Eddie back. The Niners added a receiver since we last saw them. Javon Baker was wearing number 83 today. He was out at practice, about 6'1", 4'5" guy. Doesn't look all that big or all that fast. Saw him running some routes, shaking off the rust, and we'll see. He's a practice squad receiver, so most likely he's not going to see the field this year. All the NFL Network has 10 different prognosticators that give predictions on all the games, and all 10 picked the Niners this week to beat the Tennessee Titans. We talked to Kyle Shanahan today as well. He told us that, he was saying, hey, Kyle, what'd you do during the bye week? And he's like, man, I caught up on some family time, some dog time, some much needed sleep. Took Tuesday through Sunday off completely and just got away. I asked him, why are you guys so good after the bye week? And he didn't really necessarily have a concrete answer, but I think ultimately what it comes down to is that the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan's kind of low-key early in the year, but man, when they come back from the bye and it's time to get serious, he kind of said it. It's like, this family time he has, he puts it all into the Niners. And, this family break that he just got, it's like, hey, man, it's like I'm not taking another break until after the Super Bowl. So, that's the name of the game for pro coaches. They work and work and then work some more. Shanahan was asked about Robert Saleh. Said it's huge. It has been huge to have had Robert Saleh on the staff all year. And Shanahan pointed out that what he really loved Saleh for is the fact that Saleh was here in the off season, and when they were trying to put together the roster and the coaches and put this whole thing together, that Saleh was there with him, helping him do it. And he's a guy that obviously he trusts implicitly. And he said that last offseason especially, it was really nice to have Robert in the fold. He was asked about Cam Ward, and he says, man, the guy throws like a top-tier quarterback. You know, I don't know what you can trust when you ask coaches about the opponent, you know, during the days before the game. They're never going to say anything negative, but he did say that he throws like a top-tier quarterback. He was asked about Curtis Rourke. You know, what does Rourke look like? And he didn't give any opinions yet, but he said it would be nice to have a 3-week evaluation window for Rourke. I watched Rourke today at practice. He's a 6'5" quarterback. He doesn't have a lot of wrist snap to his ball, so he throws kind of a catchable football. There's, you know, the guys who don't throw catchable footballs, guys who bring it back and they just have a lot of wrist snap, almost like a baseball pitcher. Sometimes for the receivers, it's hard to pick that ball up if there's so much snap at the end of your release. And yet some of the best quarterbacks in football history, Dan Marino, had kind of a snap to his release. But he wasn't known for the catchability, he was known for the velocity on the ball. Marino was one of a kind. But yeah, looking at Rourke, he doesn't move all that well. He's a pocket passer solely. I wouldn't, you know, they call him the Maple Missile. I don't know if I would describe his pass as a missile. He looks like just moderate, middle of the road type arm strength. This is just based off one practice watching him, but not a lot of snap, pretty decently accurate, not a great foot mover, and his ball looked, you know, I would say he looked just like middling arm strength, like maybe even less arm strength than Mac Jones. That's just what I got today. Shanahan was asked about Purdy's toe, and he's like, hey man, it's a non-factor, you know, and Purdy's not having problems with it. And it's not that he's beyond it, he's not. And it's not that he's without any pain, but it's a non-factor in his mindset. They're not thinking about it, they're not talking about it, you know, he's okay. He was asked about Phillip Rivers and the possibility of, you know, Phillip Rivers coming back and playing in the NFL. And he said that, you know, when Jimmy G went down against the Dolphins, that, you know, they had considered maybe going to Phillip Rivers, but that Purdy looked so good, they just decided to stay with Purdy. I thought that was interesting. And he said, you know, Phillip Rivers likely can still throw. So, obviously, he was a great quarterback in his day. We should tell you that this 49er football season, all season long, is brought to you by our friends at Sleeper. That's right. I'm a big fan of Sleeper. Sleeper's done an amazing job as a sponsor of the Crude Show, and we want to shout them out. This entire football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and of course Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, let's finish up with the rest of these notes, and there's a bunch of them today. The Jets have signed Adrian Martinez, so the Jets obviously having a need at quarterback. They had Martinez prior. Obviously, they had knowledge of Martinez, and they signed him today. So he's now a New York Jet. Niners have a 90% probability, according to the people who do those numbers, of making the playoffs. Field Yates of ESPN had a mock draft today. He has the Niners drafting Caleb Banks, a big defensive tackle out of Florida. I don't think it's, you know, outside the realm of possibility the Niners go D-tackle. I really think that they very much could. I'll say Caden McDonald, but Caleb Banks is also going to be a late first-round pick. As I told you, first impressions of Curtis Rourke, average arm strength, looked a little rusty, threw a catchable ball, not a lot of wrist snap, not a lot of mobility. He looked okay. By the way, Tennessee beat Cleveland last Sunday and scored 31 points in the process. And now you got a Niner team that's won 3 in a row coming in. Niners offense has scored 26 points or more in 4 of the last 5 games. So with Purdy back in there, they're scoring more points. So Niners also play 3 of the last 4 against contenders and also 3 of the last 4 at home. So it's going to be an interesting finishing stretch. Purdy is 4-1 on the year, and he's going up against a secondary that absolutely got carved up last week against Shedeur Sanders. So I would expect Purdy to have a big passing day. Other guys to look for have a big day. Look for George Kittle to have a big day. Cleveland's Harold Fannin had 114 yards receiving against this Tennessee team. Tennessee struggles to defend the tight end. Look for Kittle to go off. Also, Tennessee gave up big receiving yards to the running back. Both Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins gashed them in the pass game. So look for CMC to go off. I think it's a CMC Kittle Purdy day for sure. Watch for Tony Pollard. He's coming off of his career game. They're going to feed him early and often. The Niners defense has held the last 2 opponents under 10 points. Good to see. And the Niners defense is doing this by taking the ball away. You know, if there's anything that has really stood out about the 49ers in the last few games, it's that they are taking the ball away. And they're getting turnovers. And I really think that ultimately is going to be their recipe for success in the playoffs. Are they suddenly going to wind up with a killer pass rush? No. Is suddenly, all of a sudden, they're going to be just like the defense from a few years? No. It's just not going to happen. But if they can take the ball away, that might be their ticket to success in the playoffs. All right, that does it for the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Plank Oakland for sponsoring this video. And thanks to Sleeper for sponsoring The Krug Show. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show. Join me tonight at 6 o'clock on Niners Nightly on KNBR. The great Al Sacco is going to join me in the house, and we'll talk some Niners with one of the best in Al Sacco. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.